Hey y'all, it's Tiffany Johnson with Tiffany Johnson Creative, and I have a fun quick video for you today. I'm going to show you some different ways to use one of my favorite art supplies, which doesn't get enough credit in my opinion, the makeup sponge. So these are just little foam wedges. You can get them at the drugstore, grocery store, on Amazon. Used to have them at the Dollar Tree, but I haven't seen them there in a while. But they have so many uses and they're super economical and great for so many things. I just wanted to share a few of the ways that I use them in my creative practice. And if you're already using them when you're creating, I'd love to know how you use them. So drop me a comment below and let me know some of the ways that you might use these. Maybe I can learn something too. All right, so today I'm going to use mostly acrylic paint, but these are also great with inks, with dry pastels, things like that. But I've got some Payne's Gray. Woo! That's stuck on there pretty good. Some Payne's Gray acrylic paint that I'm going to use just for a dark color. Squirt it out. This is a silicone mat on my table here, so I'm just going to squirt the paint directly on that. And I've got some deli paper. So I'm going to grab the deli paper because as I demo these, then I can use what we made for some collage paper later on. So this is a great way to make your own printed collage paper, to use in the background for texture, or just even to add on top, because the clear deli paper pretty much melts into the background. Similar to tissue paper, but it's more durable. It's got a slightly waxy finish, kind of like parchment paper. But they come in these great little pop-up boxes, and they are literally the papers that they would put like a sandwich in at a deli. All right, so I'm going to take my makeup sponge and I'm going to use the flat side here and just lightly dab it in my paint. And the key with this is you don't want to get too much paint on it. So you don't want it like smushing globs of paint everywhere. And the first thing I'm going to do is use it to put paint through a stencil. So there's lots of things you can use to do that with, but this has become one of my favorites because it's easy to control. Again, you don't want to get super gloppy, soupy paint in there because no matter what you're putting it on with, that won't work well. And you just dab it into your paint, or again, you can use inks. Okay, and just dab it through the stencil. Okay, so you don't need to brush back and forth or anything like that. You don't want to push it up underneath the stencil. Just hold the stencil firmly in place and blot away. Okay, so now I'm not going to do this whole stencil. I'm going to leave me some room. I'm going to pull that out. So now I have a fun circle pattern that I can tear up and use in a collage later. These are great, again, for background prints or even layering over colored paint that you already have, maybe in an art journal or on a mixed media piece, because they just add so much fun. And it's also a great way if you have stencils that have words or letters, things along those lines. It's a great way to do that because then you can make sure it comes out right before it's on your piece. Right? Whereas if you stamp or stencil directly onto the page, and if it doesn't work out very well, it's a whole lot harder to fix it. So again, I'm just doing another stencil because I want to show how well it picks up those details. This is a lot finer stencil. Okay. And now, so I'm going to toss this kind of over to the side and we'll grab another page. The fun thing about this, you don't need a stencil to make patterns with these makeup sponges. Okay, so I'm going to grab, again, I'm just lightly blotting the paint so it doesn't use a ton of paint and it doesn't soak it up super quick. So you're not like continually putting paint down. But because of the shape on the end, right, we can make these cool little squarish rectangular patterns on our collage paper or directly in an art journal or on an art piece. And basically, you're just using it like a stamp. Okay, so you've got this fun geometric pattern. Super easy, super fun. Okay, and then if we look at the shape of the makeup wedge, it actually has 3 different shapes. Well, 4 if you count this side. So if we turn it on one side, okay, then we have a triangle. So instead of that little squarish box shape, now we have a little triangular wedge. So how much fun is that? Okay, so you can see where this is going. All sorts of easy shapes to make, adding a little more interest. Again, we could do this side and just make a big flat rectangle. I'm gonna have to add some more paint. Right, and these are not like perfectly filled in and geometric, but that's what gives them the fun, more interesting quality, as opposed to just looking like one big flat shape. Okay. All right, so let's put a little more paint down. Let's see, I'm going to tilt this a little bit so you can see where my paint is a little better. All right, let's see if that helps. And now I'm going to take that very end, blot it off a little bit. And look how much fun that is. Okay, so again, it's your own little personalized stamp. We can do stencils with it. Another way to use it is actually on stamps. So this is a handmade stamp that I made myself. And a matter of fact, I made it in a previous YouTube video. So if you want to see how to make this kind of stamps, they're foam and you can cut out any shape you want. Check out the previous YouTube video and it'll show you how to make the stamps. But because it would be hard to dip this in to a blob of paint and get good coverage, I can use that makeup sponge and lightly dab or brush it on to my stamp. And that way I'm not getting huge globs of paint because I don't need that. All right, how much fun is that? Okay, and again, you could also use this on a gel plate to apply your stencils or your stamps or whatever. Okay, now here's something super fun. Little trick that I learned is if you happen to maybe be frugal like me and you don't want to use a ton of makeup sponges at the same time, sometimes you put it aside and it gets dry where the acrylic paint dries up, but you need it for just a few more minutes and you don't want to grab another one, or maybe you've run out of them. So super simple. Let's take our scissors, or maybe you want to just change colors and you don't want to grab another sponge. Those scissors are not that sharp, but they totally work. Okay, so now I have a fresh end on here and I can go back in. So if that one gets all dry and crusty, cut it off and keep going. Right, so how much fun is that? Hopefully that gives you guys some ideas to try. Go play with your little makeup sponges or go grab some if you don't have some already. And let me know in the comments how you use them or if you've ever used them. Hopefully this has given you some ideas if you haven't. And if you liked this, go ahead and subscribe and like the channel, and that way you'll see more content coming up. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.